In the beginning, it was a lot of anger, then frustration, confusion because we didn't know why. But eventually, we just kept praying and praying. Came to the church, for help. Got that. Just relied on the doctors per se, but not really, because they were saying a lot of negative things. We don't expect them to wake up. We don't expect them to walk, do this, do that. But we just kept praying and waiting and watching. And here he is.
When we say the phrase "guns don't kill people, people kill people," I didn't say it specifically like that. I said it like guns don't kill people, people with guns kill people. And I said that because the person with the intent or who has the malicious perception of doing harm is the person who's going to either do the killing or the person who is actually doing the defending and doesn't know how to utilize it properly is the one who's going to kill people. It's more of when that person chooses a gun to do harm, I believe it's more of a passive aggressive act. I think it's more of a way to not necessarily be confrontational, physically confrontational with someone, but more of a way to be aggressive and still not have to deal with being hurt in the same manner.
It's the perception, and when we think of guns and, let's say, innocent children, that's the part I like to keep. That's the part that they tried to get the Congress to pass on, and they brought families, and Congress still voted against it in front of these families. That's horrible. So I think there's a lack of morality. And when we think of guns, we should think of children and their perception and their protection. And their perception is that a gun is a toy. When I was a kid, we played with a gun. It took two of us to have one, and you played cops and robbers, and once I touched you, you were arrested, and it was done. But now kids come home from school, and the TV is a gun. There's something to point at the TV that looks just like a gun. So they're being taught that guns are fun, and they already know they're dangerous, but it's still fun to be dangerous. So I think legislation needs to be passed to help communities figure out the best way to handle this. And as a community, we have to put the kids first, their perception of guns and the protection of the children.
When you have students that have missed a month of school because they were shot, that brings great concern. When you have students that tell you, Mrs. Barton, I have to protect myself. This is what I'm used to. I grew up in this type of neighborhood. This is all that I know. When they're constantly living in fear, that brings great concern. Because I'm trying to figure out, even in simple lessons that we give them in the classroom with group projects, just how they deal with conflict in general. It's like you're walking on eggshells. So it brings great concern, and a lot of universities now are trying to figure out how can we promote healthy conflict resolution within our universities.
We suffer from what Dr. Patricia Newton calls post-traumatic slave disorder, meaning that we have not gone through the proper mental training. We have not gone through stuff to help us get self-hate out of one another. When I see another black man and I see him as my brother, and if I see him as my equal, I can't run up on him and say, "Bruh, I'm gonna kill you." That don't even make sense, right? I gotta call him the N-word. I gotta disrespect my queens because I can't see them as another sister and slap them around and hurt them. So when I think about crime, I think about it as a symptom of many other things, just like a common cold, right? You get a cold, what do? You run to the drugstore, you get some Aleve, you get some Motrin, you get whatever you get. You want to stop your nose from doing what it's doing. You want to stop. You want to clear up your throat, but you don't want to deal with the problem. What caused that cold, right? What have you been doing? You're not getting enough sleep. You may be stressed out. You might not be eating right. You may not be exercising. So I think a lot of times, even when she said about legislation is not moving fast enough for us in our communities, right? Somebody outside tonight might die. So we can't wait on that. We need to start organizing ourselves. We need self-help groups. We need crime prevention groups to aid President Obama, because when it comes to voting, everybody shows up. Everybody and their mother, everybody, right? But when it comes to, all right, what we gonna do after the vote, people like, I'm not sure. I voted for Obama. What do I do next? Come on. You know, if you really believe in Barack Obama, then you need to stand up and do something.
Like they said earlier, I believe that guns are not a good way, but they should only be used as self-defense. And in my circumstance, I don't think I shouldn't have been shot. But nobody wants to be shot, but I don't think I deserved it. And the way I was shot was kind of ironic, if that makes sense.
Because now you have 3 African-American youth, one which is a female, going to spend a big portion of their life in prison because of a senseless act, just because they got some money, a book bag, some books. It didn't make any sense. And the impact of what they've done will affect them the rest of his life, just like it's going to affect them the rest of their life. So I actually feel sorry for them, really, because he's here. They're alive too, of course, but I really feel sorry for them. They just don't realize what their consequences, what they've done. It's just sad on both ends. That was really hard. Anxious, heart was racing. I was very nervous. I didn't want to see him. I did want to see him initially when I was angry, but then after I was over that, I just wanted it to be over. But then I wanted to face him, hear what he had to say, and none of them showed any remorse, which was sad again. I prayed for them because they had no remorse. The shooter just said, I don't know why I did it. The young lady didn't say anything, and the judge asked for 3 times to address the court. And the other young man we haven't gone to court for yet. So just the fact that they showed no remorse is sad again, because they were 16, they're 17 now. And the shooter got 40 years. So again, most of his life he's going to be in jail. But like they said in court, two young lives have been not lost, but destroyed.
Everyone's impacted. So we look to continue to have important conversations that impact the community. This will conclude our conversation about kids and guns. And we look forward to the next episode of Youth Truth.